Oh wow, the whole hall is already silent. A very good evening to everyone. Mr. Goh Yulin, Duke-NUS Governing Board Chair and members of our Governing Board, Professor Patrick Tan, Dean, Duke-NUS, Professor Ng Wai Ho, Group CEO, SingHealth, senior leaders from the SingHealth Duke-NUS AMC, deans and faculty, distinguished guests and colleagues, and of course, class of 2030 and your family and friends. Welcome to the Duke-NUS White Coat Ceremony for the 20th MD class. My name is Dr. Suzanne Goh, and I'm the Associate Dean for the MD program, and I'm very excited and honored to be your Master of Ceremonies for this evening. The White Coat Ceremony is a very special occasion and marks the students' entry into our noble profession. Our program this evening starts with the opening address by Professor Patrick Tan, Dean of Duke-NUS Medical School. Before the presentation of the White Coats, we will watch a short video showcasing the class of 2030. Associate Professor Shiva Saraf Yazdi, Vice Dean of Education, Duke-NUS, and Associate Professor Nigel Tan, Group Chief Education Officer, SingHealth, both co-directors of the Academic Medicine Education Institute, will confer the White Coats to the class. Dr. M. Hema Prashad, Medical Officer in Anesthesiology, Class Ambassador from the class of 2025, will present the names. We are honored to have Associate Professor Chan Yok Hui, Chief Executive Officer, KK Women's and Children's Hospital, to deliver her congratulatory remarks and lead the class in their first recital of the Hippocratic Oath. We are especially delighted to welcome Associate Professor Anantham Devanan, Director, SingHealth Duke-NUS Medical Humanities Institute, to present the Humanities Moment. So without further ado, it is my pleasure to invite Professor Patrick Tan, Dean of Duke-NUS, to share with us his opening address. Dean, please.
Well, what a day today. Mr. Goh Yulin, Governing Board Chair and members of our Duke-NUS Governing Board, Professor Ng Wai Ho, Group CEO of SingHealth, Master Academic Clinicians, Senior Clinician Leaders from the SingHealth Duke-NUS Academic Medical Center, distinguished guests and colleagues, and most importantly, a very special welcome to the class of 2030 and their families. Where are you? It gives me great pleasure to welcome all of you tonight. This White Coat ceremony holds a very special place in our Duke-NUS calendar. In a few moments, each of you will step forward and put on a white coat. Now, the coat will not make you a doctor tonight, but I guarantee you that some of your family members will think it will. But it marks the responsibilities that you are now beginning to accept, to learn with discipline, serve with compassion, and to earn the trust that patients will one day place in you. Entering and wearing the white coat is not just simply beginning a course of study. You're now entering a profession and joining a community, our community, that will teach, challenge, and support you as you learn what it means to care for others. And indeed, the presence of so many master academic clinicians, senior leaders, faculty, and members is a powerful sign of our recognition of you now joining our community. Last year, we marked 20 years of the Duke-NUS story. And in the past 2 decades, we've graduated over 1,000 doctors. They're now caring for patients as clinicians, advancing knowledge as clinician scientists, educating the next generation, improving health systems, and creating new models of care. Obviously, on a personal note, tonight is very especially meaningful to me as I just stepped into the role of Dean earlier this year, so this is also my first White Coat ceremony. So I'm just as new as all of you. But let me take a moment to introduce this new cohort, which is our 20th MD cohort, a cohort that, very much like Duke-NUS, is different by design. There are 78 of you, but collectively you show that there is no single route into medicine and there's no single kind of experience that makes someone capable of becoming an excellent doctor. Some of you have discovered this calling early, some later. Some carried with you while you train deeply in other fields. Some of you have made difficult choices and sacrifices before deciding that now was the time to act. These decisions take conviction, humility to begin again as a student, and also courage to step away from a path in which you may already have established. Across the 78 of you, many of you come with strong foundations in the life sciences, biomed science, engineering, and fields closely connected to medicine and health. Others bring academic and professional experience from fields more varied: psychology, anthropology, finance, and the creative arts. Nearly half of the class, 38 of you, come to medicine after working in other professions, and 20% of you have actually come from a healthcare background. 8 of you have joined us through the Pathways to Medicine program after pursuing academic interests at top universities before choosing to enter graduate med school. Also among you are trained musicians, performers, writers, and athletes who have taken your talents to national, regional, and international stages. We're proud of the caliber of this class. We are immensely proud and grateful that you have chosen to commit the next 4 years to medicine at Duke-NUS. Because at Duke-NUS, what we believe is that a previous degree, career, or accomplishment is not something to just leave at the door. Your roots are different, our standards are not. What is distinctive is the wider range of knowledge, experience, and ways of seeing that you can now bring those lived experiences to apply to patient care, science, and health systems. Simply put, and what we believe, your unconventional past is what the future of medicine needs. And this is why Duke-NUS was created as a graduate medical school. Singapore needs doctors who can do more than master clinical knowledge. We need people who can connect disciplines, ask better questions, work across teams, and see problems through more than one lens. In Duke-NUS, we call this Clinician Plus. Doctors who bring something more to medicine and use it in service of patients and society. I want to acknowledge a few important groups in the audience today. 49 members of this cohort are women, and this is the largest cohort we have welcomed into our MD class. And this is progress worth celebrating. And I'm delighted that Associate Professor Chan Yok Hui, CEO of KK Women's and Children's Hospital, has agreed to lead the class in reciting the Hippocratic Oath this evening. Her career as a clinician, researcher, and role model shows where talent, purpose, and service can lead. So I want to thank Yok Hui for agreeing to come to give us the Hippocratic Oath. Another group of VIPs that I want to salute are the families of our medical students. For many of you, the decision to pursue medicine did not just change your own plans, but those of an entire family. So I want to acknowledge the families, partners, and loved ones in the room, and those cheering from afar. Thank you very much. You have encouraged, waited, worried, and believed, and your support brings all members of today's class to tonight. And we think your support will very much matter in the years ahead. To the class of 2030, I want to spend a few words speaking to each and every one of you. In a few moments, you will stand to take the Hippocratic Oath alongside your peers, all of us, faculty, mentors, and others. This is Friday. And maybe let me give you a peek into the crystal ball of what will happen on Monday and the next few years coming ahead. Over the next few years, you will constantly ask yourself the question, which is an important question, what kind of doctor do I want to be? This isn't just about the knowledge you will acquire or the procedures you will learn, but it's about how you will use authority, how you will respond in times of uncertainty, and how you treat the people who work beside you, the patients and caregivers, to make sure that they're heard and cared for, particularly when they are at their most vulnerable. Importantly, all of you are entering medicine at a time of profound change. Care is shifting from reacting to disease to preventing it, and people are living longer. Data science, precision medicine, artificial intelligence are changing the way we understand patients and making decisions. Research is moving discoveries from the lab towards care with growing speed. These changes will demand scientific rigor and technical confidence. But rest assured, your education at Duke-NUS and across the SingHealth Duke AMC will give you the knowledge, tools, and fortitude to meet that future. We'll be asking you to work in teams, to challenge each other's assumptions, and to apply your earlier experiences to all questions that you ask. In your third year, this will be most manifest in hands-on research. There will be frustrating days when challenging experiments refuse to work, moments when results open a door that you might not have expected. But I hope that you will discover, as I did, that research and the quest for knowledge teaches more than technique. It teaches patience, curiosity, and the discipline and the mindset to let evidence change your mind. Research is also the bedrock that ultimately drives better clinical care, resulting in real patient impact. But as technology grows, and as we know more knowledge, the more important human foundations of medicine will be. Through clinical rotations, simulations, and as you hear from the SingHealth Duke Medical Humanities Institute, medicine isn't just about treating illness, but also to listen, to understand what a diagnosis means to a person, what a family is carrying, sometimes unspoken, and the importance of dignity at every moment when you wear that white coat. But this is where your different backgrounds will be a great advantage, but only if you continue to learn from one another. Be generous in what you know and be humble in what you do not. All of you bring different lenses. The artist may notice what others overlook. The scientist may frame a sharper question, and the engineer may see a system that can be redesigned. The person who has worked in another profession may understand a patient's fears and anxieties in entirely different ways. So bring these perspectives closer. So in closing, I would like to remind you that when you step forward to receive your white coat, remember that you are not stepping forward alone. Behind you are the people who helped you reach this room, your friends and families. Around you are your classmates who will become your trusted colleagues, friends, and confidants. Ahead of you, but always willing to lend a hand, will be your faculty, mentors, and clinical teams who will guide you. So on behalf of everyone at Duke-NUS and Duke-NUS AMC, let me extend my warmest welcome. We're all, and I personally, am extremely proud of all of you and delighted that you have chosen to be part of our community. So congratulations, class of 20, and welcome to Duke-NUS.
Thank you, Professor Tan. Before we proceed to the next highlight, we would like to share a short video featuring our students as they express their hopes and aspirations for becoming doctors.
Starts with a story. And unlike other schools, our students began in places you might not expect. Whether it be searching for impact beyond numbers, advocating for better care, and believing that every voice deserves to be heard.
I believe that investing in healthcare will lead to helping patients. I wanted to get a sense of what it was like being close to patients.
Working with persons with disabilities showed me how much support families need beyond a diagnosis. As a doctor, I will continue to advocate for my patients.
Writing plays has taught me to listen for the person behind every story. Even as a doctor, I will continue telling stories so more voices can be heard.
Different paths brought them here. The lives they led before shaped the doctors they are becoming now. Together, they transform the future, one It makes a difference.
I think the excitement in that video is really infectious. So students, hold on to some of what you are feeling right now. Medical school has a way of becoming very busy, very quickly. And there will be times when the next deadline, exam, or clinical task feels much more immediate than the reasons that brought you here. So every now and again, come back to those hopes you have just shared. Remember what drew you to medicine and what kind of doctor you hope to be when you walk through our doors. So tonight's white coat ceremony marks an important step in that journey. The white coat represents the trust that patients and society place in our profession, and the compassion, integrity, and responsibility that must accompany that trust. It is therefore our great privilege to present the class of 2030 with their first white coats. To introduce the class of 2030, I'm pleased to invite our alumnus, Dr. M. Hema Prashad, to share a few words of encouragement and then to present the class for the conferment of the white coats. Dr. Prashad, please.
Thank you, Dr. Goh. Dear esteemed guests and class of 2030, I am Prashad, alumnus from the class of 2025. First of all, congratulations to all of you for making it into medical school. Your medical journey will be intense but enjoyable. The going will be tough with many challenges and uncertainties. However, bear in mind that you are the selected who have passed through the tough admissions process. You have the potential and are equipped with the abilities to overcome the difficulties you will face. Nonetheless, if you ever require a helping hand or support, please reach out to your faculty, college masters, seniors, alumni, and staff. We are all here for you to support every single one of you. Brace yourselves mentally and physically as you join your batchmates on the climb. There will be precious friendships forged, and you will discover strength in yourself that you may have never known you possessed. It is my honor to invite Associate Professor Nigel Tan and Associate Professor Shiva Saraf Yazdi to come up on stage for the presentation of the white coats. With honor, I present the class of 2030. Ang Jia Hui Christy, Himanshu Bhagat. Nicole Nathaniel Budiman, Chan Derek Pingxie. Karina Chandra, Chen Tiansu. Shiria Chabra, Gladys Chia Sin Yi. Chang Chun Yong, Evelyn Chiu Elin. Chong Xue Li Shona, Chu In Zheng Elton. Timothy Isaac Chua, Ting Su Wen. Abigail Ting Sin Ya, Fu Si Yi. Fu Tun Min, Cao Jiang Long. Kang Bo Shen, Aparna Giri Shankar. Go Tai Yi, Sonia Zizi Hartono. Sarah Sawanishi Hishinuma, Hui Zunjie Jonas. Jia Yinghan, Jiang Xinyi. Kara Manolis Anastasi Peter, Chloe Kek Yishuan. Ko Yak Hao, Eleanor Ko Jing En. Margarita Kochina, Lak Sherry. Lao Seng Chow, Lee An Thai. Lee Ting Ray, Brian Lee Tse Seng. Lee Alex Ida, Charmaine Lim Shumin. Annabelle Lim Xue Lim Yufei. Lim Ziyan Sherman, Liu Yuexi. Natalie Elizabeth Lo Jianhui, Wayne Ng Junzheng. No Gyung-un, Ong Jia-wen Amelia. Park Yun, Kwa Zheng-wen. Jia Yishan, Kiara Sha Zi-en. Shen Zhaoyang, Shaila Ria Kaur Shagil. Sivalingam Dinesh, Mranmayi Vikram Soman. Reina Takahisa, Tan Hui Lin. Tan Ting Zhen Kylie, Tan Cheng Yang. Anika Tang Siting, Teh Jiawen. Laurel T. Ryan, Tyler Min Hoi. Roy Tam Chun Kai, Katya Tahaya. Carmen Tong Rong Wei, Tu Lok Nang, Tu Learning. Lewin Remark Roldan Turkiza, Wang Jiulin. Wong Hao Eun Matthew, Wong Jing Yi. Wong Mei Xuan, Wong Min Qian. Xing Hui Xin, Nicholas Yao Kai Xiang. Titus Hutch Jr., Yim Yi Zheng, Yong Xian Wen. Zhang Ruoyi, Zheng Bowen. Thank you, professors. Thank you. Okay. Congratulations, class of 2030. Congratulations for what you have achieved, and we look forward to what you will go on to accomplish. It is a great honor and privilege to be able to join the medical profession. Do take the time to celebrate and enjoy with your loved ones before you embark on this next chapter of your lives. And I look forward to welcoming you all as my colleague in a few short years. A warm welcome to Duke-NUS.
Thank you, Dr. Prashad. And that concludes the introduction of the class of 2030. I would now like to invite Associate Professor Chan Yok Hui to give us her congratulatory remarks and to lead the recitation of the Hippocratic Oath. Prof. Chan.
Mr. Goh Yu Lin, Chair, Governing Board, Duke-NUS Medical School, Professor Patrick Tan, Dean, Duke-NUS Medical School, Professor Ng Wai Ho, Group CEO, Sing Health, and the class of 2030. Congratulations. This white coat ceremony is a significant milestone that marks your first step into medical profession. And it fills me with pride to see all of you on stage coming one by one to don your white coat, all young and enthusiastic. And I always tell my young doctors, medicine is not only a profession, it is a calling. It is a calling that comes with great responsibility. So here I invite the class of 2030 and all our guests to reflect on the significance and relevance of the Hippocratic Oath, an ancient oath attributed to Hippocrates, a Greek physician from the 4th century BC, considered to be the father of medicine. The Hippocratic Oath sets out a set of principles and values, a code of medical ethics by which a clinician should practice medicine. Although written nearly 2,500 years ago, the oath is as relevant today as it ever was and provides all physicians with sound guidance as to how we should practice medicine solely for the benefit of our patients. This evening, the class of 2030 will recite the oath. Through your individual and collective public declaration of the Hippocratic Oath, you affirm your acceptance of your personal responsibilities as medical students as you begin your long apprenticeship to becoming trusted clinicians. We traditionally and symbolically gather to recite the Hippocratic Oath at critical times during our students' journey. First, at this white coat ceremony, which marks the beginning of your Doctor of Medicine program. In due course, we will gather at your graduation, signaling the end of your basic medical education, and collectively reaffirm the Hippocratic Oath to mark your formal entry into the medical profession. The oath lays out the professional values and personal responsibilities that you, our medical students, all agree to uphold in your future care in interactions with our patients. Students, by taking this oath, you will bond with your fellow students, your forebears, your senior clinical colleagues who will become, in coming years, your teachers, your guides, and your mentors. At this meaningful juncture, I would like to extend an invitation to our clinical colleagues in attendance who wish to reaffirm their own professional vows to join the class of 2030 in the recitation of the oath. Class of 2030, fellow physicians and honored guests, please rise for the recitation of the Hippocratic Oath. I will lead and invite all participating to repeat each line after me. I do solemnly swear, by whatever I hold most sacred, that I will be loyal to the profession of medicine, and just and generous to its members, that I will lead my life and practice my art in uprightness and honor, that into whatsoever home I shall enter, it shall be for the good of the sick and the well, to the utmost of my power, and that I will hold myself aloof from wrong and from corruption, and from the tempting of others to vice, that I will exercise my art solely for the cure of my patients and the prevention of disease, and will give no drugs and perform no operation for a criminal purpose, and far less suggest such a thing. That whatsoever I shall see or hear of the lives of men, which is not fitting to be spoken, I will keep inviolably secret. These things I do promise. And in proportion as I am faithful to this oath, may happiness and good repute be ever mine. The opposite if I shall be forsworn. Thank you. It is always incredibly moving to be part of this shared pledge to maintain the highest professional standard to the medical profession. Once again, I want to congratulate all of you. Congratulations and welcome to Duke-NUS Medical School.
Thank you, Professor Chan. Class of 2030, congratulations again. You have now made your first public pledge to the profession you are entering, surrounded by the people who will accompany you on that journey. And with that, a very warm welcome to the Duke-NUS medical community. Welcome. And now I would like to invite Associate Professor Anantham Devanan, Director of the Singhealth Duke-NUS Medical Humanities Institute, to share with us his remarks for the Humanities Moment. Dr. Anantham.
Distinguished guests, class of 2030, family and colleagues, let me congratulate the class of 2030 on reaching this milestone. This is your entry into clinical medicine, and you have every reason to savor this moment. You really should take all of this in. I wondered what words I could offer to mark this occasion, and the work of Eric Castle in his book, The Nature of Suffering and the Goals of Medicine, came to mind. I hope you like the cover. It's not meant to frighten you. He has described so convincingly why medicine should be learned and practiced at the bedside, and why the patient remains the ultimate source of truth and knowledge. I have taken excerpts from his work for coherence, and for me, even after decades of clinical practice, these words resonate, and I hope that they will mean as much to you as they do to me. So here goes. When Frances Heath came to her physician because she was short of breath and had swollen ankles, again, it did not take more than a few moments to confirm that she had heart failure. Again. Frances hates taking diuretics because they make her urinate so much it is difficult for her to leave her apartment. And when she's been feeling well, she begins to forget them. Gradually, she reaccumulates edema, and then to her surprise, because it always seems to creep up on her, she's sick again. You may wonder why she does not simply restart her medication. But what happens is she gets frightened about her breathing and is reminded of how alone she is, and that as much as shortness of breath drives her to the physician's office. It is generally accepted that the physician's task on first seeing such a patient is to make a diagnosis, to find a name for the thing that afflicts her. Frances has developed heart failure on the basis of long-standing coronary artery disease. The genesis of coronary artery disease, its variants, anatomy, biochemistry, physiology, determinants of onset, cause and outcome, and medical and surgical treatment have been the subject of intense research for many decades and have totally transformed the treatment of the disease and the expectations of those who have it. The doctor treating this patient possesses this knowledge. The experienced doctor has, in addition, knowledge that has been amassed from years of experience of treating similar patients. Patients with heart failure like Frances do not only display symptoms and signs of their failing heart. Like the rest of us, they present to the observer an almost infinite number of physical features that can be seen, felt, heard, smelt, and sometimes even tasted. Furthermore, people may be short of breath for many reasons. They may have no disease at all, heart failure, emphysema, asthma, fluid in the lung, fluid in the abdomen, pregnancy, clots in the lung, anxiety, and all of these may present singly or in combination. The findings on physical examination, such as the sounds heard through the stethoscope when examining a patient with heart failure, may be present in other diseases or even in the absence of disease. Diseases usually manifest themselves by more than one symptom or sign. Now, with this background, the great advantage of learning medicine at the bedside is clear. Learning from sick patients supplements theoretical knowledge. Medical students learn several distinct things: how to collect information from patients, how to make diagnostic and therapeutic judgments based on that information, and how to deal with the inevitable uncertainties and ambiguities of clinical medicine. To learn from experience and to use their knowledge of medicine appropriately, clinicians must immerse themselves in the immediacy of their experiences and the experiences of others. Of some clinicians, we say they have had 20 years' experience. Others have had 1 year of experience 20 times. The former were engrossed in their experiences, while the latter placed their knowledge as a shield against their experiences. The more clinicians are open to experience, the more they are beset by uncertainty. The hallmark of clinicians is the ability to tolerate this uncertainty. In fact, it would appear that the contemporary overuse of technology and the continued concern with the disease to the exclusion of the sick person are methods of denying the inevitability of uncertainty. Even when there's little doubt about the disease, as with Francis, who has heart failure, doubt will attend to other facets of illness that have a bearing on treatment. When deciding on actions to take, choices among alternatives are always present. It cannot be otherwise. Medical judgments always deal with actions that have consequences in the future. Because the future is involved, another element of uncertainty is introduced. The key to understanding medical judgment is knowing that it is fundamentally the management of uncertainty. In practice, uncertainty can be put out of mind in several ways. The first is to de-individualize patients, to make them more like the textbook case, Mr. or Mrs. every congestive heart failure. When Frances says that she's short of breath, the idea of heart failure comes immediately to the physician's mind and begins to guide observation. But rather than carefully observing, the inexpert sees only what they expect to see on the basis of theory. Evidence to the contrary is dismissed, and the case for their chosen diagnosis, in this instance heart failure, is flimsily constructed. Facts that deviate from the usual instance are either suppressed or dismissed. Pretending to a certainty that does not exist is another solution that marks an inexpert. An echocardiogram is done, and the interpretation of the images is accepted as though it is a fact rather than a judgment that might be incorrect. Similar transformations into certainty are forced on virtually all the information, no matter how shakily it may actually be or how removed from the actual experience of the doctor or patient. Redefining the problem to eliminate uncertainty is also common. Instead of acknowledging the difficulties presented by Frances and her heart failure, the problem can be defined so that her negligence about her medication is seen as the sole problem. By terming it negligence, the physician can believe that his responsibility is diminished. After all, what does it matter what is wrong with Frances, if only she took her medications? Shrinking the problem to ever smaller dimensions is a fourth method of dealing with clinical uncertainty. Whatever doubt we have about Frances and her heart failure, we resolve by getting an echocardiogram or some other tests, as though the case and its problems can be reduced to questions solely about the pumping effectiveness of the heart. This is an extremely common modern strategy for solving the uncertainty problem. Reduce the problem to one for which there is a test and make the test results decisive. However, the clinician's question is not only whether the disease as measured in this manner exists, but what must be done for Francis. Unfortunately, as the degree of certainty achieved in the four methods becomes greater, the physician becomes more remote from the actual sick person and the sick person's problems. The doctor's increased certainty has not lessened uncertainty that surrounds the patient. After the test, it is certain that Francis's heart does not pump adequately. But she did not come to a doctor only because her heart is failing. She was forced to a doctor by forgetting her medication and the fear created by a shortness of breath. Keeping her well will require solutions to the latter problems as well as the former. Certainty is rarely possible about what actions are in the best interests of sick persons. Correct action requires an informed doctor who knows as much as possible about the sick person and illness. Until this is done, the four central tasks of clinical medicine, discovering what is the matter, finding the cause, determining the treatment, and predicting the future, will always fall short of their mark. Knowledge of the empirical facts of the body, of human biology, makes it possible for the clinician to know what is the matter with the heart. Knowledge about persons in general, and this person in particular, makes individualizing the disease treatment possible. Withdrawal from the patient is rewarded with certainty, but punished by sterile and inadequate knowledge. Movement toward the patient is rewarded with knowledge, but punished with uncertainties. The fact remains, however, that to disengage from the patient is to lose the ultimate source of knowledge in medicine. So, class of 2030, I urge you, as Dr. Eric Castle describes, to get to the heart of clinical practice, we have to know our medicine and we have to know our patients. Artificial intelligence, big data, and genomics threaten and promise many disruptions in medicine, but his assertion remains unchallenged. Each of you is allowed, as a doctor, to give to your patients your presence and your attention. The greatest reward for all that time and energy invested is the ability to truly connect with people and to see them lifted out of illness. To help patients and families navigate the most painful moments of their lives, you need to meet them where they are. And that requires presence and attention. By investing in the clinical experience, learning to manage uncertainty, and building doctor-patient relationships, you will see for yourselves trust emerging from that investment. And that trust will allow the healing that medicine can offer to actually work. So show presence and attention in bedside learning as you venture forth into the chaotic and sometimes bewildering world of clinical practice. And always remember, the patient remains the ultimate source of knowledge. Not a scan report, not a histology result, not a genetic sequence, and definitely not the output of an AI agent. Each patient has particular needs, and the best interest of that patient depends on their values and their context. We all look forward to your presence and attention as we welcome you to the medical fraternity. Class of 2030, my congratulations once again, and thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Anantham. So, class of 2030, just a final word before we conclude. Tonight, you leave here wearing a white coat. Over the next 4 years, you will gradually learn an extraordinary amount of medicine. You will eventually learn to take responsibility for the care of another human being. But some of the most important things you will learn will be hard to measure. And these things will tell you what your white coat represents. You will learn how to sit with someone who is frightened, how to admit when you don't know, how to ask for help. That's really important. How to keep going after a difficult day. And I hope how to remain curious and kind, even when you're tired, busy, and have approximately 71 things left to do on your to-do list. And you won't do any of this alone. Look at the people sitting beside you right now. Just look. You will study together, struggle together, celebrate together, and accumulate far too many shared stories to explain to anyone else outside of medicine. And some of these friendships will last your entire careers and even beyond. Look around this auditorium now. Your faculty and staff will teach, challenge, and support you, and your families and friends will keep you grounded and remind you that there is a world beyond medical school. So enjoy tonight, be proud of how far you have already come, and tomorrow begin the work of becoming worthy of the trust represented by the coat you are wearing. So welcome, class of 2030, once more to Duke-NUS and to medicine. Ladies and gentlemen, we have now come to the end of the ceremony, and we thank you all for joining us, and we hope you enjoyed this evening. So for our final task, may I invite our Duke-NUS and SingHealth leadership, faculty, and the class to follow our ushers for the group photograph. Other guests, kindly remain seated until the ushers guide you to the foyer shortly. These photos will be shared with every student, so family and friends, rest assured you won't miss the opportunity to capture the moment. Thank you once again. The ceremony is closed.